A Belgian priest named Georges Lemaitre suggested the Big Bang Theory in the 1920s. He theorized that the universe began from a single primordial atom. He established that the universe is expanding because space is stretching. Now, he didn't establish that. He noticed the stars have a red shift. How many of you have ever been in your car by the train track when the train's coming by, and you hear the sound of the train, and it changes pitch when it goes past you? On the way in, it's compressing the sound wave. It drops when it goes past you. That's called the Doppler effect. Lemaitre noticed the stars are giving a red shift. He said, wow, that means the light from the star, which gives off the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, the star must be leaving because the spectrum line is shifted over toward the red of the rainbow. Oh, if a star was coming toward us, it would compress the light waves and give a blue shift. He's probably right. I'm not going to argue about that at all. But then he said, because these stars are giving a red shift, that proves they're moving away. I believe that's reasonable. Therefore, if we extrapolate back in time, everything came from a dot. Oh, no, that's not reasonable. 17 times the Bible says God stretched out the heavens. The Bible says God made the earth first, then he made the stars, then he stretched them out. So they're given a red shift because God stretched them out. They're still moving, not because they began from a big bang. Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is February the 13th, a very famous day in history. We'll talk more about that in a second. Not only because it's Friday the 13th. By the way, they started saying it's an unlucky day because that's when Christ was crucified. No, he was crucified on Wednesday, not Friday. I read all the reasons why they chose this day. It's all stupid stuff. Anyway, but there's a different reason tonight. A very important thing happened on February 13th. Long time ago. You'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's see. We're on Rumble, or Facebook, on Rumble. A bunch of people there. X, our own app, KentHovind.tv. On Instagram, you can get us there. On TikTok, sign up for all of them. If they take us off of one, we'll get me up on the other. Thank you, atheists. You worked so hard and wasted thousands of hours to get me taken off of YouTube. It made us spread out like wildfire. Yeah, didn't it? Okay, let's see. Right here. We are straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles in Lenox, Alabama. Come on up and see us. Finally got one of the bids today to do all the blacktop we need. We drove around, measured everything off, $133,000. We got about $50 saved up. So looks like if you want to help, call Bobby at the office, 855-BIG-DINO. If you want to contribute, we're going to blacktop. We're going to run out when we run out of money, we run out of blacktop. So our Noah's Ark should be open in 2 months. Get it going great, guys that are working hard down there. Let's see. There's our Noah's Ark right there, 172 feet long. Raising funds to blacktop the road. Call Bobby if you want to help. Getting bids now. I got one, 133,000. I'll try to. He said if we want to, that's to do 15-foot wide road. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. We can get it maybe down to 100,000, but still a lot of money. Okay, let's see. If we can't do it all, we'll just quit. We run out of money. Right there is the outer loop and the inner loop. Never mind. Okay, you can help us stay open for free. Join our 777 club. I like what you're doing. I'm going to help you win souls. Go to drdino.com. If you support our ministry, great. If you don't, we're going to do it anyway. Okay, let's see. February the 13th, a famous day. What happened February 13th? Well, April 21st, in 2 months, is our 10-year anniversary of getting this property donated to us. If you want to help get it finished, come on down. We need lots of help finishing that ark. We need plumbers, Kevin, electricians still, plumbers, sheetrockers.
We need people willing to work their fingers to the bone.
People willing to work their fingers to the bone, okay? A lot of people willing to show up and eat. Yeah, we got enough of them, okay? February 13th, in 1633, Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei, what a name, okay, arrived in Rome to be tried before the Inquisition for professing the belief that the earth revolves around the sun. Can you believe that? 400 years ago, they took him to trial, found guilty of claiming that the earth goes around the sun. See, back in those days, everybody believed the geocentric theory. Everything goes around the earth. He professed the belief that the earth revolves around the sun, took him to trial, lost, had him put in house arrest for the rest of his life. Think about that. The geocentric model places the earth at the center of the universe. That was taught in universities for over 1,500 years, nearly 2,000 years. It was first formalized by Aristotle in the 4th century before Christ, and later refined by Ptolemy in the 2nd century after Christ, through his work Almagest, which became the authoritative astronomical text for more than a millennium. For more than 1,000 years, they would study the stars based upon a model that was wrong. Who would have thunk it, Joseph? Yeah. A text that was, they believed something that wasn't true, the geocentric model. The model remained dominant in academic and religious institutions throughout the Middle Ages and into the early modern period. Nicholas Copernicus introduced the heliocentric model, the sun, helio means sun, in 16th century, and Galileo made observations like the phases of Venus going through the phases, you can see, crescent shaped like you can on the moon, provided strong evidence against the geocentric model. The geocentric view was not fully abandoned in universities until the 19th century. They were still teaching it 200 years ago. So which is correct? Heliocentric, helio meaning sun. Does the earth go around the sun, or does the sun go around the earth? Well, let me see if I got this straight now. All the universities taught something that was wrong for 2,000 years. You couldn't get your degree from an accredited university unless you believed in the geocentric theory. Anyone who dared to object or question was arrested and imprisoned. Is that what happened? Yeah. Sounds like today. Anyone who dares to question the established religion of evolution is mocked, cast out of teaching positions, hated, and made the subject of internet mockery. Did I get it nailed down pretty good there, Joseph? Yeah. Galileo was found guilty of vehement suspicion of heresy. That was the charge. By the Roman Inquisition, June 22nd, 1633. February 13th, he came to Rome's trial started. Finally found him guilty. The charges stemmed from his publication of dialogue concerning the two chief world systems, which strongly supported the heliocentric model of the universe proposed by Copernicus. He dared to go against something that had been taught for 2,000 years by all the geniuses of the world. Aristotle said it, it's got to be true. Charles Darwin said it, it's got to be true. I'm sorry. Contradicting the geocentric view endorsed by the Catholic Church at the time. Although he was not found guilty of actual heresy, he was sentenced to formal imprisonment, which was immediately commuted to house arrest due to his age and his poor health. He spent the remainder of his life under house arrest at his village near Florence, Italy, until his death in 1642. 9 years of house arrest. For what? For teaching the earth goes around the sun. Sounds like today, doesn't it? Anyone who questions the established science of these family trees that says humans are related to octopus, yeah, you don't dare question that, you'll be cast into academic Siberia. Right? If you dare to question the idea that established science says dinosaurs turned to birds, Joseph, there's a lot of dumb ideas floating around, but that's got to be floating at the top of the pile. Dinosaurs turned to birds. If you believe that, you drank the Kool-Aid. Look at me. That's stupid. Real stupid. Think about it. Think about it, okay? No animal turns to any other kind of animal. None. But if you don't believe that, you'll be banished. Academic Siberia. Anyone who questions the established science of the geologic column and doubts the layers are different ages is mocked and banished to academic Siberia. The majority believed and taught wrong geocentric model for 2,000 years and persecuted those who opposed it. February 13th, today, is a major day in the war to correct science that was entrenched but wrong. Let's make today, February 13th, another major holiday in the war to correct science that is entrenched but wrong. The majority believe and have taught the wrong, non-existent, illogical geologic column for 200 years now. It's time to throw it out. Galileo will be proud. This is the day. I think we should all you students, when you go to school Monday, say, teacher, if they talk about the layers of the Jurassic, etc., say, I'm sorry, teacher, that's stupid. It doesn't exist. How can the layers be different age? I've been asking this question for years now. Let's try it tonight. Call in. If the layers are different ages, where is the new material coming from? Just answer the question. How can that top layer be younger than the rest of the layers. This is what they teach in the school, that the Holocene dirt is only 10,000 years old. And the Jurassic dirt is 145 million years old. Oh, where was all the Holocene dirt hanging out? I tried to Google, how thick is the Holocene layer? They say it started after the Ice Age, 11,000 years ago. And they say it changes from about, a foot to maybe 6 feet around the world. Well, if you take the size of the world, I think it's 150 million square miles or something like that. Where's all that dirt? Let's take an average of, 4 feet thick. Where did that 4 feet of dirt covering 150 million square miles, where did it come from? How can this Holocene dirt be a different age than the Jurassic dirt? How? Where, guys, I just want a simple answer. Where is it coming from? I've never had him answer that, Joseph. Oh, I forgot. Here we go. That's the problem. Yeah. Second question. They'll say, well, no, it didn't come from anywhere. That's the date it got moved over to someplace else. Well, if that's the date that it was moved, how does that change the age? If I shuffle a deck of cards, does that make the top card younger? Huh? Moving it doesn't change the age of it. How do you explain polystrata trees and polystrata fossils, animals and plants running through different layers that are different ages, all fossilized, intact, running through the layers? We showed that many times on my show. Just Google polystrata, meaning many strata, trees. Thousands have been found now. Last question. If this geologic column was proven wrong, would you admit it? Let's build on that tonight. Any atheist questions, call in, talk show. Questions, send them in. I take the position that geologic column does not exist anywhere. It's fake. It's phony. It's stupid. Did I make my position pretty clear?
I understood.
You understood? Okay. So get some questions in here, Joseph. Anybody want to defend the geologic column? This is a good day to do it, February 13th, Think about Galileo. Yeah. See Science Labs. If you're happy and you know it, smack the like. Oh. Ken, how do you reconcile Jesus saying, drink my blood, eat my flesh? Drinking blood is against. I think it's obviously symbolic. The Matthew Henry commentary did a great commentary on that back 300 years ago, whenever 1700s. Google Matthew Henry commentary on those verses where he talked about that. I don't want to take an hour on that. That's not my focus of my show. It's on evolution, okay? But yeah, check that out. Dosic. What do you think about the carbon-14 levels not being equilibrium yet? I covered this on video 7 in great detail. The radiation from the sun hits our atmosphere, which is 78% nitrogen, and it converts some of it into carbon-14, radioactive carbon. Then radioactive carbon is unstable. It breaks down, turns back to nitrogen, and it releases some atoms and some particles. And you can hear it click on a Geiger counter. So what they're doing, they're putting a Geiger counter, and they're hearing this decay. And so they've studied it, tested it very carefully. They say it decays at a certain rate. About half of it will decay in 5,730 years. I agree, no question. That's the current decay rate. When I was a kid, it was 5,630, I think. They changed it. But roughly, let's call it 6,000, round it off. So if I gave you a pile of carbon-14, half of it would decay in 6,000 years. Then it takes 6,000 more years for half of the half to decay. So it goes from the whole pile to a half to a fourth, and then to an eighth, and then a 16th, and a 32nd, and then not much. They say it can't get more than about 5 or 6 half-lives, and it's basically gone. Okay, so about 30, 40, 50,000 years would be the max you could date anything by. So the radiation from the sun is striking our atmosphere, creating carbon-14, and it's decaying at the same time. So we got a problem here. I use the illustration on video number 7. There we go. Helps people. I figured out I'm going to quit coughing, brother, when I die. I went back and listened to my tapes from 30 years ago. I talk too much. They're going to think I'm a woman when they find my jawbone. It's going to be worn out right there. Let's see. Here we go. Carbon-14, if I can bring this up. Let's see. No. Carbon. Here we go. Carbon dating. Carbon dating. Okay. Here's the equilibrium problem that they don't like to talk about. Right here. Coming up. You can get all my slides for $100 on a thumb drive, what, 50,000 or something now?
Yes, sir.
Please do. Okay. Carbon-14. All this is covered on there. Half-life. Coming up. See, if you ask the questions in the same order I've got the answers, it saves a lot of time. Equilibrium problem. Here, coming up. I think it's right. There, okay. If I told you to fill a barrel full of water, here's the hose, fill the barrel. But on the other side, I drilled holes up the barrel. As soon as you get to a certain level, it starts leaking out of one hole. You get up higher, it leaks out of two holes. Pretty soon, it reaches a place called equilibrium. You're never going to fill the barrel past that point because it's leaking as fast as you put it in. Make sense? Equilibrium, it's filling and leaking at the same rate. Well, they've done studies on this. They say the Earth's atmosphere would take about 30,000 years to reach equilibrium. The sun is producing it, and it's decaying. It's leaking out the other side of the barrel, okay? Radiocarbon. Let's see. Inaccuracies in radiocarbon dating. Summary. They are assuming it's already, I'll get this here. The freshwater reservoir effect in radiocarbon dating. That's not the one I wanted. Let's see, right here. The Earth's atmosphere has still not reached equilibrium. They said it would take 30,000 years to reach equilibrium. So then they said, well, we know the Earth is older than that, so we can ignore this equilibrium problem. No, you can't, guys. Earth's atmosphere has still not reached equilibrium. I've got slides on that somewhere here. There you go. It's been calculated it would take 30,000 years for Earth's atmosphere to reach equilibrium. Then they said, we know the Earth is millions of years old. We can ignore this problem. No, you can't. The Earth has still not reached equilibrium. Radiocarbon is forming 28 to 37% faster than it's decaying. They've known this for, what, 25, 35, 40 years. Mm-hmm. Is radiocarbon forming faster than it's decaying? Yes. AI generated answer. Forming faster than it's decaying, 28 to 37%, even today. Well, hold it. If the Earth's atmosphere has still not reached equilibrium, then you can't carbon date anything because you'd have to know how much was in it when it was alive. You don't know when it was alive. That's why you're carbon dating it. It's, how don't they get it, Joseph? What else can I say? Fluctuations in the rate of C14 production mean that at times the production rate will exceed the decay rate. At other times, the decay rate will be larger. So they assume it's already reached equilibrium, and you can't, it hasn't, and you can't possibly know that. So it's a complete waste of time to carbon date anything, in my humble, totally unbiased, and correct opinion. Okay? Foundation, somebody. Hey, can't wait to see you Monday for the interview. Would you give us a tour of DL? Sure, come on down. We give tours all the time. I love it. Let's see. Why is 6 days equal to 144 hours? In the book of Revelation, they're 144th chosen. I don't know. I think there's lots of numeric, more than a coincidence through the Bible. There's a book on numerology, the stuff found in the Bible. The equidistant sequencing of the Hebrew alphabet will blow your mind. They went through, count every 7 letters, and it makes a new word. I don't know how you could write a book like that. Just type, what's the name of that book? Bible codes or hidden codes in the Bible or something like that.
They look up equidistant lettering system.
Equidistant lettering. Can you write a letter that hidden in that letter, every 10th word, every 10th letter of spells out another topic? I can't do it. Okay. When God made us from the earth in a day that isn't our day, that's God's day, like the day of the dinosaur. Well, that's not true, because later he said in 6 days he made heaven and earth, the sea, and he wanted them to rest on one, because he worked 6 and rested 1. Plus on day 3, God made the plants. On day 4, he made the sun. How long would those plants last with no sun, Brian? And on day 5, he made the insects to pollinate the plants. The days have to be literal 24-hour days. Now, it's true they're also symbolic of a much bigger picture, where God is probably working on a 7,000-year calendar, like the big chart behind me. There's a smaller version of it. 4000 BC, the world was created. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came. We're now in what's called the time of the Gentiles. We've gone through about 6,000 years, and there's a 1,000-year period coming up called the day of the Lord. So it's true, the day of the Lord is 1,000 years, but that's not talking about the creation days. Okay? Go ahead, next question. As a fundamental Baptist, do you believe the Nephilim were the children of angels, or were the sons of God simply children of Adam? Kevin, I wish I knew. I've studied that till my brain hurts. There were giants in the earth. I mean, they're finding fossils of people 18 and 20 feet tall. And they get hidden in the Smithsonian Museum, a lot of them, because they go against the evolution religion, which says man's getting bigger and better and stronger. So I don't know. I don't think it's possible for angels to procreate with humans. Maybe it's just giant people from before the flood. The genetic code would be carried through Noah's sons. And who were Noah's sons married to? You know, their wives, obviously, but, you know, maybe they were maybe they carried a gene code through for something else. And it just happened to trigger once in a while to get, you know, one family can have 8 or 10 kids and they turn out wildly different. You get them the same way, you feed them the same food, they grow up in the same house, and they turn out different. Some are real tall. Both of my brothers were 6'4". My sister was 6 feet tall. What happened? I don't know. So I can't answer that. Wish I could. I wish I knew the answer. And unless the Bible's real clear, I try not to be dogmatic on any topic. The Bible, here's the theories. That's my modus operandi, okay? If the Earth's only 6,000 years old, can you explain the continental drift? We know for a fact they were all one landmass. Jim, how do you know that? Because of the shapes of the continents? Stop and think now, Jim. They're going to tell you, Pangea theory says South America and Africa used to fit. What they don't tell you is they shrank Africa 40% to make them fit. Check it out. Check the land area of those two, okay? They don't tell you that they took out all of Central America and Mexico. We cover all this on video 6. They twisted Africa one way and twisted South America the other way. And they also don't tell you what I think ought to be obvious. People say, do you think the continents were, South America and Africa were connected? They're still connected right now underwater. Aren't they? I mean, if you take the water out, there's dirt under there. You know, they say, look at the shape. Yeah, my house and the neighbor's house would fit too if you slid them together. What does that prove? Nothing. Somebody's got imagination like SpongeBob. Stargaze. The Bible code is amazing. Much more to come. It is stunning, the Bible code. Chuck Missler. I spoke many times with him at conferences and stuff. Good friend of mine. He wrote the book about the Bible code. It's fabulous. Solomon. How were their days before the sun? Well, our day starts at midnight. Why is that? It's dark out. The sun, one spin of the earth is a day, whether there's a sun or not. If the sun disappeared today, how long would the days be? 24 hours. One spin of the earth. Don't have to have the sun for that. God himself is light. And I think God made the sun later purposely so we would know, don't worship it. It's important to have. It's nice, you know, but you don't worship it. Thumbs are nice to have too, but I don't worship it. So I think the sun was made on day 3 purposely so they would know. And many cultures around the world worship the sun. That's called stupid. Nick, how was the 2000 Disney movie Dinosaur and its theme park ride affected dinosaur culture? I didn't see the movie. I don't know. Without seeing it, I can guarantee you they taught dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. That's the stupid part of it. Dinosaurs lived with Adam and Eve. They've always lived with man. Some may still be alive, smaller ones, okay? What do you think about the theory about the lost 1,000 years in the Dark Ages? Well, I think mankind lost a lot of knowledge because of the Roman Catholic Church persecuting all the smart guys and killing them and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think a lot was a great setback, mostly because of the Catholic Church during the Dark Ages, but it didn't change any time. We didn't lose any days. Lost a lot of knowledge. That's all. Okay? Nobody
on TikTok wants to know, do you just flat out deny science?
I love science. Evolution is not part of science. Evolution's a religion. So no, I've never denied science is what we know. The word means knowledge, seer, to know in Latin. What do we know? We know cows produce cows. We know that. We see it. We do not know cows and bananas are related. You can believe that, but that's not science. So I love science. Evolution is not part of science, never has been, never will be. It's the dumbest religion ever. And it's a religion, and you're welcome to it. But don't call it science. Hey, if you disagree, give me some evidence. for evolution? Where's the best evidence you have that you're related to a potato? What do you think about the 13 months in the year, starting over April 1st every month having, well, the Earth goes around the sun, and it spins while it goes around the sun. And it spins 365.2422 times. Okay? Well, it doesn't work out even. We end up back in the same place in position with the sun, you know, solar solstice or summer solstice. Well, June 21st usually. Because of that extra 0.2422, they got to throw an extra day in there. They put a leap year every 4 years, but every 100 years they don't do it. And it works out close enough. Who cares, okay? Nothing to fight over. How come nobody took up my... Look, this is February 13th. You're supposed to defend the geologic column. Nobody's doing it, are they, Joseph? I gave simple questions. Maybe I need to put them back up. Where is the dirt coming from? Okay, slide number... Oh, here we go, okay. Just in case you don't remember them, okay? Here they are. If the layers are different ages, where is the new material coming from? If it's that the date it moved, how does that change the age? How do you explain polystrata trees? If you're proven wrong, would you admit it? Let's leave that up. Somebody, come on, are you brave evolutionists? Defend your geologic column. I know that's your Bible, okay? What's your best movie or show of Jesus you know of? All right. I'm not much of a moviegoer. I don't.
Gospel of John was pretty good.
What now?
Gospel of John was pretty good.
Gospel of John was good. I didn't see it, so. My life's really busy as is. I don't need to throw any more stuff in there. Okay. Foundation. Let's see. Oh. What can you tell about the second woman in the Garden of Eden? I don't remember her name. It's totally baloney. About Edith or something like that. Crazy. Lilith. Yeah, Lilith. Yeah, stupid. Adam had one wife. It was paradise. If you have two, that's not going to be paradise. They're going to be fighting all the time of what color to make the carpet and what to cook for supper. Just one is paradise, okay? Is that right, brother? No comment, you brave men? Okay. Let's see, long name here. Hi, Kent. Just wanted to ask if you had spoken on 1 Peter 4:6, looking for insight on the verse. Well, it would help if you put the verse up there. Now I got to get my worn-out Bible here and find 1 Peter. I don't know all the verses by heart. I know a bunch of them, but 1 Peter, my dilapidated edition. 1 Peter 4:6. Let's see. For this cause was the gospel preached unto them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to God in the Spirit. There are 33,101 verses in this book. Some of them still puzzle me, and that's one that still puzzles me. One theory is, when Jesus died on the cross, he said to the thief, today you'll be with me in paradise, not heaven. And Jesus talked about the rich man and Lazarus going to Abraham's bosom. The best I can figure out, putting the pieces together, is before Jesus' blood was put on the altar, everybody's sins were covered by the blood of the lambs. Jesus' blood cleanses their sin. That's different than covering. And so he told Mary when she came to the tomb that morning when he arose, she said, don't touch me. I haven't yet ascended to my Father. He ascended, presented his blood to the altar in heaven, apparently, came back down and told Thomas, go ahead, put your finger in my hand, okay? So I think he had to be, the gospel had to be preached to those that were in captivity. They were in paradise, Abraham's bosom, in the center of the earth, not heaven. Rich man and Lazarus, Luke 16. They could see each other, talk to each other, but they couldn't get to each other. There's a great gulf between them. So the best way I can put all the verses together is before Jesus died on the cross, they didn't go to heaven. They went to paradise, Abraham's bosom. Okay? Have you heard of the stories of Jesus spreading his lost years in Cornwall, Britain? I have not, but I bet somebody from Cornwall made up that story so they could sell real estate. Here's where Jesus walked. Price goes up. Yeah, right. I wouldn't believe that for a second. Why do you think there's no mention of demonic possession or casting out demons in the Old Testament? I'm trying to think if they're, maybe not casting them out, but certainly was there demon possession. I don't know an answer to that one. Think about that one. What? King Saul, demon possessed. Yeah. Good point. David played the harp to get rid of it. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Ken Hovind, I'm a creationist, but the evolutionists agree with you that the material is the same age, but says the dates is when it got laid down. Well, that is question number 2 on my sign there. If that's the date it was moved, how does that change the age of it? Does shuffling a deck of cards make the top card younger? It's still the same age. Simple enough to me, yeah. Okay, Angel Joy Kingsley. One guy told me his wife was an angel, always up in the air harping about something. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Let's see. I've heard that the Bible that is falling apart usually belongs to someone who isn't. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay.
Are you related to Eric Hovind?
That's my son, Eric Hovind.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. No show tomorrow, but Sunday morning will be a different Bible character. Tune in 10:30 and tell your friends about our show. The George Janko show now has 400 million views.
1,000.
What?
400,000.
400,000. Yeah. I'd like to be on every broadcast in the world, friend or foe. Call them up, say, have Kent Hovind on. Doesn't do any good to have me call them up. Hey, can I be on your show? You call them and say, have him on. I do it for free. I sure have trouble and I leave, shut the door, go back home. Okay, see you Sunday morning. Bye. A Belgian priest named